The clip from Diddy's 2017 documentary, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, was first seen as a positive nod to a hustler who made it from the streets to the top. But after Lil Rod's lawsuit and the cops' visit to Diddy's home is now starting to appear more like evidence of an aggressive, domineering A-lister in the industry who is not afraid to get what he wants or hurts other people in the process. Make sure to hang on to your shoelaces cause this video is about to rock your boats. Diddy has been carrying out his shenanigans for countless decades, which is why it's not surprising that he's got more victims than a James Patterson novel. And you had better be a belieber, cause some of these victims are your all-time favorites, like Hollywood sweetheart Justin Bieber, Usher, and DaBaby. Let's dive into this real quick, but first off, make sure to hit that subscribe and bell icon for instant updates on new videos. Remember what I said about Diddy shenanigans dating back to decades? I sure as heck wasn't joking. This thing is as bone-chilling as a bottle of Lucozade. It all started a little over 30 years ago when Diddy was a bright and chill intern at Uptown Records. But guess what happened? Just 1 year later, Diddy decided to assault a friend, and I'm not talking about a pinch on the skin, I'm talking of a sexual assault. But he didn't even have the balls to do it alone. Nope, absolutely not. At least not at the time. Instead, he called another sick friend in person of the R&B singer Aaron Hall, who helped him assault an unnamed victim. No doubt a popular person herself, right? But here's where things got dark. Turns out that it all happened after a music industry event. But when the mystery lady decided to confront him about it, she got the beating of her life. And how did we find out about this? The lady decided to sue him to court in November 2023 without revealing her identity. Diddy was fine with that anyway, cause he didn't want to get bit by her fans. It looks like shit is about to hit the ceiling, cause looks like we might just be getting to the part of Diddy's lawsuit where the feds are now revealing some information about the case. And believe me when I say if you ever thought of this whole thing as crazy, you ain't seen nothing yet. What if I told you that the feds have been investigating Diddy and all the things he's been doing with young and upcoming artists in the industry behind closed doors for 11 years? But get this, most of these artists are popular celebs, and y'all are going to be shook when you discover the names of all the artists on Diddy's victims list. But hold on for a second. Did Diddy really send one of his victims to prison to protect himself? And what's with all these talks about him having the cops in his pocket? Let's spill the beans, shall we? Jamie Roseman, also known as Jimmy Henchman, was caught by the feds on a long list of charges such as drug trafficking, murder for hire, money laundering, and many more. Truly, Jimmy Henchman was the man to call in Hollywood for any and all of your needs. When it came to Hollywood's shadiest, darkest characters, this dude knew everything about everything. The feds had suspicions that he knew about Diddy's shady acts with minors. That the authorities thought Diddy might have ties to someone as bad as Jimmy Henchman reveals a lot about the nature of the activities they believed Diddy was involved in. After Uptown Records discovered that Diddy was definitely not the person he claimed to be, they fired him 3 years later without looking back. It was in that same year that Diddy decided to make it from the ground up by starting his own record label, Bad Boy Records. Diddy's new label featured many A-listers like the Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, The Walks, Faith Evans, and more. Just 5 years later, Diddy gained a new reputation as the Gatsby of his time while throwing his annual Hamptons all-white parties with execs and high-profile artists and actors from the entertainment industry. Heck, even sportsmen were invited. But where am I going with this? Just 1 year after these infamous parties started, Diddy was arrested and charged with 2 felonies. But guess what they were? A second-degree assault and criminal mischief in the beating of record executive Steve Stout. Insane, right? Well, you're bound to be shocked even further when I inform you that Diddy and 2 bodyguards beat Stout with their fist. But they didn't just stop at their fists, they used everything ranging from a telephone to a champagne bottle and a chair. Diddy ended up admitting to the crime and paying a settlement fee of $500,000 to Stout. But that's not all, he was also sentenced to 1 day of anger management classes. Ha, 1 day? 10 months of anger management classes wouldn't have done a thing for Diddy. Anyways, it looks like Diddy has done everything possible to get rid of any mention of this on the internet. But hey, I wouldn't blame him, considering how being associated with anything like this would be so detrimental to his career and public image. It's easy to understand why he would do this. Nevertheless, I was able to locate an article regarding it, and I must say, it was quite nasty. Rumor has it that the Popo questioned James Roseman, a former music manager turned cocaine kingpin, regarding the sexual preferences of celebrities, especially with regard to whether or not Sean Diddy Combs had intercourse with minors. The feds have been investigating him for quite some time, and the lawsuits have only served to heighten their suspicions. And boy, believe me when I say they found out a lot of things. Like how Diddy tried to make moves on Chris Brown when he was younger. Although Chris Brown did tell this story a few years ago, very few believed it at the time. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but there it was quite strange how Diddy decided to ask Chris Brown to dance for him. I mean, make this make sense. Why would a 12-year-old kid have to dance for Diddy at Diddy's home before he or she gets signed? Rumor has it that Chris's talent wasn't the only reason Diddy turned him down for a contract. Apparently, it was because Diddy wanted the role of mentor and mentee with benefits. He also had some private plans for Chris to attend his puffy flavored camp, if you get what I mean. But let's get this straight. Diddy did not reject Chris due to his lack of talent. The big boys in the industry like Def Jam and LA Reid were almost fighting with each other to sign him back then. Chris contacted Diddy to find out which grass was greener, but Chris Brown's reluctance to dance to Diddy's tune was the deciding factor why he didn't make an impression on Diddy. But this is where things get really sketchy. Chris was lucky enough to avoid getting hit, but not everyone was. Take Usher as an example. Usher is said to have gotten involved with some very shady things with Diddy. Usher has been in the business for a very long time. He started making music when he was 10 years old in the late 1980s. By the time he was 13, he was signed by LA Reid, who was one of the biggest players in the business at the time. Reid took Usher under his wing and got Usher to hang out with big names like Diddy. This is where things get weird. Diddy knew Usher before LA Reid signed him, and he is said to have started doing some real shady stuff to Usher when he was only 10 years old, which is also when Usher started making music. You can clearly hear Diddy say that he and Usher had slept together. In other words, no one tried to say anything, but some people did say that some very strange things were going on, and I didn't always understand. Or am I the only one who thought it was strange that Usher denied there were women at the parties and then said it was interesting? A lot of people thought this meant there were a lot of interesting queer things going on. Usher grew visibly agitated during the interview, and he was hesitant to discuss the topic. He said, "I want to save some things for my book one day." To put it simply, there was a lot of sex. But the FBI revealed that Usher wasn't the only one. Justin Bieber's name keeps coming up when people talk about Diddy's victims. Also, Usher is connected to this in an interesting way because he put Justin Bieber and Diddy in touch with each other. Scooter Braun found Justin on YouTube where he was posting videos of himself singing. Scooter then put Justin in touch with Usher, who then put him in touch with Diddy. Unfortunately, Usher didn't like to talk about his relationship with Diddy. But from what he has said over the years, it sounds like he didn't really enjoy living with Diddy and that it was a nightmare for him. People are mad at Usher for this because they don't understand why he would put a young boy in touch with Diddy when he knew what Diddy is said to have been doing to boys since the 1990s. The fact that Justin was 13 when Usher introduced him to Diddy makes things even stranger. Usher was the same age when LA Reid sent Usher to live with Diddy. It looks really sketchy. When Diddy posted a video of himself and Justin sharing 48 hours together, fans began to think that he might be up to something with Justin. He told Justin that he would give him a Ferrari when he turned 16 and a whole house when he turned 18. I'm not going to lie, but those sound like the kinds of promises you give to your lover. As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna let you rock this every time you, be your, I'm good to go. Yeah, and then when you get 18, you get the house, get the mansion, okay? The mansion, right? But hold on for a minute. Is this the same dude that owes his artists money and only gave them their masters this year right before Cassie's case was dropped? Heck, that was all shades of strange. But what Diddy said next was much more strange. Following that, there's a video of them at a puffy party where Diddy appears to be following Odell Beckham Jr. around. Things are getting even worse than that though, because rumors on the street are that Diddy got Justin hooked on drugs. Do you remember when Cassie said Diddy made her use drugs and got her hooked on them? People now say that he is said to have done the same thing to Justin. Justin has talked about his battle with addiction before, and hearing about the terrible things he went through when he was just a kid just breaks my heart. There was a time Justin Bieber talked about his experiences in his YouTube docuseries where he said, "There was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, shrooms, everything, and it was just an escape for me. I was just young, like everybody in the industry and people in the world who experiment and do just normal growing up things. But my experience was in front of cameras and I had a different level of exposure and people. And because these drugs are very addicting, the consequences were very bad. Bieber started breaking the law and he was always making headlines for all the wrong reasons by the time he was 19. Many have commented on how fascinating it is that Justin sobered up after splitting up with Diddy and how much better he looks now. The list goes on and on. Many more people like Empire star Brashear Gray are linked to Diddy. Fans of Empire were hoping that Brashear would become the industry's next great thing when he became a breakout sensation. However, that was never accomplished because he vanished from the industry. The rumor has it that he finally snapped because he was getting sick of being Diddy's boy toy. It takes a bad person to plan to blow up someone in front of their friends and family. But Diddy's real character came out in the open after Lil Ron accused Diddy of boasting to him about his ability to get away with various crimes. On another occasion, while standing in Mr. Combs' bedroom, Mr. Jones was forced to watch as Mr. Combs displayed his guns and bragged about getting away with shooting people. Rod stated in the lawsuit, along with the rapper Shine, Mr. Combs admitted responsibility for the shooting at the New York City nightclub. In reference to the 1999 shooting that Lil Rod mentioned, Shine was basically sacrificed when Diddy put him to prison as a means of protecting himself. Diddy's girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, Shine, and Diddy all went to the nightclub, but gunfire erupted as a result of Diddy's altercation with another customer. Shine was convicted and sentenced to prison despite the fact that several witnesses claimed to have seen Diddy shooting as well, and that Shine was not the only one involved in the shooting. It turns out that Diddy had promised to hire top-notch lawyers in order to bail him out of jail. But Diddy didn't just fail to secure competent lawyers for Shine, he also showed how much of a crook he is by framing Shine in order to divert attention from himself. Talk about some classic backstabbing. The craziest aspect of all this is that Shine was dropped out of the Bad Boys records instantly. In an interview he gave in 2020, Shine further revealed that Diddy had deceived him while saying, "Puff apologized. He did apologize to me for that. When we met in Paris, he did say that he could have handled it better, but he was under a lot of pressure from the lawyers to throw me under the bus." If you think this is bad, well, it turns out there are many more bad guys in the industry, such as R. Kelly. It's not even a secret anymore that these guys do stuff with minors. A fan even commented, "That wasn't just talks though, there actually was a tape. And that girl was 15, I believe? And he pissed on her. Gross." Even if it was consensual, that shit was evil. R. Kelly obviously was fucking with minors. Dude married Aaliyah when she was only 15. Man is sick and it's never been a secret. He should have been locked up long ago. Would have saved some women from serious abuse and mental anguish. What are your thoughts on all the higher-ups in the music industry that keep taking advantage of upcoming stars? Will they be tempted to change their ways after Diddy receives the perfect retribution for his crimes? Let us know in the comment section down below. Also, click the like button if you enjoyed this video.